Nothing beats the chilled, refreshing taste of Coca-Cola on a hot summer day. Coca-Cola retains the title as the most valuable soft drink brand, bubbling up to $89 billion. Coke won the Cola Wars because its sensational taste transcends the mere sip and ignites an explosion of deliciousness that lingers on your taste buds, leaving you craving for more. That said, it's not just a drink, it's a feeling. Think about it. When you crave a soda, which is the first drink that comes to mind? Did you know that 2 in 3 people prefer Coke over Pepsi? Out of 36,000 people worldwide, 64% said they liked Coke better. One can only wonder what could be the reason behind this brand's phenomenal success. What makes it so special? Well, let's find out in today's Bistory. Have you ever mixed Coke and wine? No, not Coke the soda, Coke the drug. Well, would you believe me if I said that Coke was originally just cocaine and wine? Crazy, right? Maybe that's why it's so addictive. Coca-Cola gave us the answer. Okay, so it doesn't have cocaine now, but at one point it did. Let's take a look into the past of the most famous brand ever to exist. Did they get here by preaching the truth? Let's take a trip back to the 1880s, a time when people were wild about wacky remedies. It was like a gold rush for entrepreneurs who saw the perfect opportunity to create their own magical potions and elixirs. They claimed these concoctions could cure just about anything, without any scientific proof, of course. Unfortunately, many of these so-called remedies turned out to be dangerous and ineffective, filled with harmful chemicals. Yikes! Now, one popular potion back then was called Vin Mariani. It was a mix of wine and cocaine, and people claimed it could cure almost any ailment. Believe it or not, even the Pope back then promoted this potion. Imagine that! Now, our story takes an interesting twist with a fellow named John Pemberton. He was a war vet and morphine enthusiast who became utterly smitten with this drink. He thought it helped him kick his morphine addiction, but little did he know he was just trading one addiction for another. Talk about a wild roller coaster. Pemberton, who was also a chemist, decided to develop his own version of Vin Mariani. So in 1884, he introduced French wine coca, a ripoff of Vin Mariani with a few extra ingredients thrown in. But here's where things took a turn. Just a year later, Prohibition hit the scene, leading to the ban of alcohol in many states. Poor Pemberton had to remove the wine from his drink and replace it with carbonated water. Can you imagine the taste? Bitter. To combat the bitterness, he added a whole lot of sugar to make it more palatable. With the wine gone, Pemberton needed a new name for his potion. Thankfully, his bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, came up with something catchy: Coca-Cola. Now, why on earth did he pick such a weird name, you ask? Well, the name was actually a nod to the drink's main ingredients: the cola nut, which contains caffeine, and the coca leaf, which contains cocaine. Yep, you heard that right, cocaine. Coca-Cola insists that it never contained cocaine, despite historical evidence proving otherwise. By 1929, they had figured out a way to remove the active cocaine from coca leaves. Whew. Back in the 1880s, though, nobody seemed to be concerned about the cocaine in the drink. So even with the wine gone, Coca-Cola could continue to be sold. However, sales were pretty slow because not many folks were buying it. Pemberton tried marketing it as a harmless brain tonic that relieves headaches and upset stomachs, but it wasn't really standing out among the sea of patent medicines making similar claims. Meanwhile, poor Pemberton's health was deteriorating, and he passed away in 1888. Little did he know that his drink would go on to become one of the most famous beverages in the world. Quite a twist of fate, isn't it? Great opportunities don't come every day. recognize and seize them with every chance you get. And that's exactly what Asa Candler did. Before Pemberton passed away, he sold Coca-Cola to Asa Candler for just $2,300. What a bargain, right? Candler grabbed onto it like his life depended on it. He wasn't satisfied with just owning a portion of the company. Oh no, he wanted it all. So he started buying up shares left and right from other shareholders. At first, Coca-Cola wasn't exactly a superstar. It was like the underdog of drinks. Candler wasn't one to back down. He decided to go all in on a massive marketing campaign. We're talking Coke-branded banners, billboards, and placards sprouting up everywhere. Even barns were sporting the logo. That's dedication right there. Oh, but here's the real kicker. Candler had a stroke of marketing genius. He contacted every pharmacy in the area, got a hold of their top customers' names, and sent them free coupons for Coca-Cola. It was like getting a taste of heaven for free. The plan was simple. Get people hooked on the fizzy goodness and turn them into lifelong Coke lovers. Sneaky, huh? But soon enough, they realized that pitching Coke as medicine wasn't the way to go. So they did a complete 180 and started marketing it as a tasty and relaxing beverage for everyone. I'd admit that was a smart move. And guess what? The strategy paid off big time. Coca-Cola's sales skyrocketed like a roller coaster. Coca-Cola's secret ingredient to success was creating a wholesome and positive image for the brand. They made sure Santa Claus was front and center in their Christmas ads, always with a Coke in hand. It's like they made Coke the official drink of Christmas cheer. And let's not forget about the iconic Coca-Cola girls, beautiful ladies who helped sell the brand with their charm and appeal. Coca-Cola was always one step ahead. They even had their own statistical department that studied car traffic and supermarket movements to figure out the best spots for their ads. As new technologies emerged, like radio and TV, you can bet Coca-Cola was right there, investing their heart and soul into advertising on these platforms. They wanted everyone to know about their tasty drinks. Back in the day, Coca-Cola was mostly served in fancy soda fountains, which helped them save some cash on getting the drink out there. But then, two super smart lawyers named Benjamin and Joseph came up with an amazing idea. Let's put Coca-Cola in bottles. At first, the big boss Candler wasn't too sure about it, but he decided to take a risk and give those guys the exclusive rights to bottle Coca-Cola for just $1. Yep, $1. And you know what happened next. It turned out to be a massive success. People went absolutely nuts for bottled Coke. But hey, there's always a catch, right? Well, Candler didn't really think about the cost going up in the future, so he gave the bottlers an indefinite contract at a ridiculously low price. That decision ended up causing some juicy lawsuits between Coca-Cola and the bottlers in the following years, and it cost the company a whole lot of money. But you know what? Candler wasn't sweating it. The sales of Coca-Cola were going through the roof every year, so he probably thought, who cares about a few lawsuits? Did you know at one time, Coca-Cola was an essential wartime product? During World War II, sugar was rationed in many countries, but Coca-Cola managed to convince the government that it was an essential wartime product and got exempted from sugar rationing. They spent a lot of money on lobbying and studies to prove that Coke was good for morale and gave energy to soldiers. But that's not all. Coca-Cola's president promised that every soldier would get a bottle of Coke for just 5 cents, even if it meant losing money. This made people associate Coca-Cola with the war effort, especially the soldiers. Coca-Cola took advantage of this by running ads with soldiers holding Coke bottles. They also made a deal with the government to set up bottling plants in other countries, saying it would boost morale and spread American influence. Government funding allowed them to set up 64 bottling plants all over the world during the war. And what is crazy to think about, is that the people who installed these plants were considered as important as those working on tanks and planes. Soldiers shared Coke with locals wherever they were stationed, so Coca-Cola spread to new countries like wildfire. While most companies suffered during the war, Coca-Cola expanded like crazy worldwide. Today it's sold almost everywhere, except Cuba and North Korea. But here's an unexpected twist in Coca-Cola's success story. As the war went on and supplies to Germany were cut off, Coca-Cola's bottling head, Max Keith, came up with a clever idea. He created a new drink called Fanta. He used leftover ingredients like beets, whey protein, a cheese byproduct, apple pomace left over from apple pressing, and some sugar. This was a big departure from the usual Coke ingredients like coca, citrus oils, vanilla, and cola nuts. Since he couldn't use the name Coca-Cola, Max Keith asked his team to come up with a new name. One of his salesmen, Joe Nip, suggested Fanta during a brainstorming session, and just like that, Fanta was born. It became a popular drink in Germany during the war, and in 1943 alone, 3 million cases of Fanta were sold. Interestingly, people not only drank Fanta, but also used it as an ingredient in cooking to add sweetness and flavor to soups and stews because sugar was heavily rationed at that time. Coca-Cola tried to distance themselves from this dark history, but we can't forget that their success had some really shady moments. Coca-Cola's success isn't just about its formula. After all, their recipes are available on Wikipedia. Even if competitors try to make similar drinks, they can't beat Coca-Cola's dominance. They've got some clever marketing strategies up their sleeves. For example, they strike deals with schools, like this one time when a teacher wanted healthier options in the vending machines. The Coca-Cola had an exclusive contract with the school, so no fruit juices were allowed. They paid the school $3,000 to call the shots and make sure their products were front and center. Sneaky, huh? Coca-Cola is all about creating lifelong customers, starting at a young age. They go after kids with cool stuff like collector's items that seem more grown-up. And remember those Christmassy ads? Yep, they made sure to link Coca-Cola with a holiday spirit. Oh, and get this. They even bought a movie studio back in 1982, just so they could put their drinks in films. They found a way to target kids indirectly without breaking the rules. But in the 80s, studies started piling up about how soda isn't so great for your health. It can lead to obesity, diabetes, and other problems. One soda a day was even shown to increase the chances of childhood obesity. Coca-Cola took a page out of the tobacco industry's playbook and started funding studies to cast doubt on the health risk. They conveniently left out the fact that they were the ones funding the research. They also spent tons of money lobbying against sugar taxes and stricter dietary guidelines. They even made deals with politicians, including donations, to get their way. And hey, sponsoring athletes and sports events helped create the idea that Coca-Cola and sports go hand in hand. To keep up with the times, Coca-Cola expanded its drink options, but not everything went smoothly. Their fancy bottled water, Desante, turned out to be just purified tap water. But it doesn't end there. Coca-Cola has been called out for its environmental practices. They run bottling plants in places with water shortages, which isn't great, and there are allegations they've polluted water sources and taken water from indigenous communities in Mexico. Not cool. Now let's talk about labor practices. In Colombia and Guatemala, there have been accusations that Coca-Cola supports violence and anti-union activities. Workers have even been threatened or killed. That's some serious controversy. Coca-Cola really knew that war meant more business, so this time they waged another war, the Cola Wars. Once upon a time in the 1890s, two fizzy giants emerged, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. For ages they peacefully coexisted, spreading joy with their bubbly goodness. But then, boom! The 1980s arrived, and these soda giants decided it was time to battle it out. It was the dawn of the epic Cola Wars, where these soda superheroes clashed in an advertising battle like never before. Fast forward to today, and the rivalry still sizzles. These two soda superheroes are constantly trying to outdo each other, striving to win the taste buds of soda lovers worldwide. Back in the day, Coke had a chance to buy Pepsi for $50,000, but they said nah and tried to sue Pepsi instead. That totally backfired. Pepsi hit back with a lawsuit claiming Coke was being anti-competitive. Then in 1975, Pepsi had a genius idea. Pepsi kicked off a cool marketing campaign called the Pepsi Challenge. It was like a fun taste test where people got to pick their favorite soda without knowing which one was which. And guess what? More folks ended up loving Pepsi over Coke.
Okay, now I'm going to pick this up and tell me which one you chose.
Pepsi!
You know, in tests like these nationwide, more people prefer to taste the Pepsi over Coca-Cola. Take the Pepsi challenge. Let your taste decide. Right, guys?
Right!
Coca-Cola wasn't just going to sit and watch. They went undercover and created a new formula that beat both original Coke and Pepsi in taste tests.
Also ahead tonight on INN, for nearly a century, Coca-Cola has had the same distinctive taste. Well, hold on to your hats.
They were so confident that they ditched the old formula and launched new Coke right before their 100th anniversary. But guess what? People were outraged. Coca-Cola was a beloved old friend to people, a symbol of their everyday lives for almost a century. Changing it felt like a betrayal. The uproar made it clear how deep the emotional connection was with the original formula.
Was getting fed up with the new formula change. Many of these drinkers were Southerners and felt that Coca-Cola was a fundamental part of their region and identity.
After the whole new Coke thing, Pepsi totally seized the opportunity and came up with an awesome commercial that boldly proclaimed Pepsi, the choice of a new generation. It was a total game changer.
Somebody out there tell me why Coke did it. Why they changed. First they said they were the real thing, then they said they were it. Then kablooey, they changed. So now I'm going to try my first Pepsi. But I still want to know why Coke changed.
In the end, Coca-Cola brought back the original Coke, now called Classic Coke.
Now, there's one consumer that we'd like to single out. He's Mr. Gay Mullins of Seattle, Washington. And I want him to know that the first case of Coca-Cola Classic will be hand-delivered to him in appreciation for his message.
What a treasure. Thank you, Mr. Collins.
Yeah, y'all, come on!
The response was incredible. People sent letters and made calls, thanking the company and showing their love. Sales skyrocketed once the original formula was back on the shelves. But guess what? New made a comeback in 2019 in honor of the Netflix series Stranger Things. But can you believe it? The new Coke disaster became one of Coca-Cola's best marketing moves. It accidentally made people realize just how much they adored the original Coke. It strengthened the emotional bond people had with the brand. Some thought it was all planned as a publicity stunt, but nope, it was a big misstep by Coca-Cola. Despite the controversies and health concerns, Coca-Cola splashes billions on advertising every year, determined to be your trusty old pal, bringing back memories of good times, friends, and family. It's like they've created a superpower that trumps taste, logic, and even data. Talk about a secret sauce for marketing success. Sure, we're aware of the downsides, but here's the thing. Coca-Cola is way more than just a sweet beverage to many. It's a symbol of cherished memories and a magical connection to the past. That's why their marketing hits the bullseye every time. It taps into those nostalgic emotions, creating an army of die-hard fans. They've cracked the code, my friend. So do you have an emotional connection with Coca-Cola? What are your thoughts on the unwavering success of this huge brand? We would love to hear from you. Let's talk about it in the comments below. Stay tuned and subscribe to Biztory for more amazing content. See you in the next one.